Welcome to another MyTrack training video. We are going to discuss locations. Locations are very critical for inventory. MyTrack makes it easy to use locations, so if you have no locations and you're just shipping parts out the door, it's not a problem. It's not going to require extra work. So the first step is you need to create a default location. Once you create your location in division parameters, under division, you would set your default location. This location could be generic. It could be building 1, it could be My Solutions building, it could be a room, but it's just a generic location. But then you could go more specific as you add more locations. You could hit the plus button here to add more locations, or you could do it in item maintenance. Now the other thing is you want to check this allow negative inventory or not. MyTrack will keep inventory no matter what unless you flag the item as non-inventory. If it's an inventoriable item, allow negative inventory needs to be a decision you have to make, be it positive or negative. I suggest you do not allow negative inventory. That keeps your processes under control. And MyTrack will do the ins and outs with simplicity. And then one is delete locations with zero inventory. We have that because every item in MyTrack has to have a location. They could all be the same location. It could be location A or building A, but you could add multiple locations for every item, but when those quantities go to zero at a specific location, you could have the system automatically remove that location. So in the initial setup, go to division parameters and the inventory tab. Next, under item maintenance, which we discuss this more in the item inventory section, you pick your item and you have inventory, and at the bottom you'll see you have locations. I could come in here and hit adjust inventory and create a new location, or I could go to an item that already has multiple locations, or I could create another location. Let me create another location here. I'm going to hit adjust inventory, and when I just hit adjust inventory, I'm not creating a location. I could put some parts in inventory, so I'll put 25 in at some cost, right? And you could put in a comment. But if I want to add another location to put parts in to keep those separate, you would hit add location. The add location field lets you pick the location. In our example, we have 3 locations. They're all the same. Bad example. In here, you can have like building A under location, and then container would be A-1. You can specify lot numbers and things like that. You can put 25. And when I hit save, you now have 2 locations for item maintenance for this specific part. 2 locations, and they have 25 each. You could actually transfer inventory between locations. So I'm going to transfer inventory from one location to the other. I'm going to transfer 10, and you'll see on the front screen the transfer occurred, and you get detailed transactions. Now let me just explain a couple last things about inventory. Inventory locations are critical for companies that have multiple locations, but it's also critical for like Kanban, customer supplied material, so you could separate out certain items into different categories basically. So if I go to location maintenance, I could go in and create a new location. I could say building A, building A, and you just pick a site. But then there's location types. This is very interesting. You set everything to a base type unless you want something different, but you could actually have a receiving location. So every time a purchase order receiver is made and posted, items applied to that receiver will go into the location specified by receiving. If there is no receiving location, it will go into the base, or it will go into suspect material. So you can now have multiple location types. So some companies actually backflush their inventory. when it's time to issue that material to a job. Well, because of that, they may only want inventory backflush that are part of the backflush locations. So you could actually create a location that's backflush only. And once you have that in there and you could inactivate, you could put a comment, you save. So now we have another location in the system. So you could add in as many locations, but adding locations would not always be every specific box or corner or pallet 1, pallet 2, pallet 3. Because in item maintenance, when you're looking at an item, you could actually, I'm going to hit edit. Every location can have multiple containers, and this is more typed in, user defined. You could have specific ones, and even a lot number. So you don't need a specific location for each item. So building A has 5,000 drawers or something. No, you create a building A or sections of the building for a specific type of materials, and then you would actually just set the container. The container would be the individual entity inside the building. Now, one nice thing is we have lot numbers. This is when you want to trace or track material when it comes in the door to specific lots. If you order a lot of raw material and it's certified for specific customers, you don't want to mix that material up with other customers' materials. So at that point, you would actually create a new item inventory location that has that specific lot number. Same thing was when you're completing work orders. So it gives a lot of flexibility, but it's very easy to use. Thank you for listening to another training video.